Hey everybody, this is part two of my um, really sad experience where Ace Fan Radio has to just push this racism at me. And the first video explains all I was doing was something that I'm going to demonstrate by this map that I'm about to show you, and legislation that you should be aware of called SB 293 that was brought into life by a combination of Nancy Skinner, our great assembly person, Rob Bonta, and California Governor Gavin Newsom and the work of Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf. And it is, well, this is, first of all, you have to understand the lay of the land. In the tweet, they were talking about Amtrak. Well, here's the Amtrak station, okay? The Amtrak station is in Jack London Square, all right? And it is there, Oakland Jack London Square Station, okay? And it's listed, it's here, okay? That's Oakland Jack London Square Station. That's really what they're outlining here. And of course, there's BART, all right? Oakland Jack London Square. See that, okay? Note, it is walking distance to Howard Terminal. There's Howard Terminal right there. All right, and there's Howard Terminal right there. Okay, so there's Howard Terminal, and there's the Jack London Square Amtrak station. Okay, in the red. And you note the red dot matches. That's the station. Okay, so my point is that in any identified impact, it's important to know the existence of this beautiful but little discussed, and that's what I'm trying to change, legislation called SB 293. SB 293 was signed into law October 11th of 2019 by the California Governor Gavin Newsom, and the title is SB. Let me show it to you. Right here. Infrastructure Financing Districts Formation, Issuance of Bonds, City of Oakland. Okay? And it's easy to just dismiss this as a financing bill. If you did that, you'd be making a gigantic mistake. And let me scroll down to show you why. It allows for a gigantic district that may finance the design, purchase, and construction, expansion, improvement, seismic retrofit, rehabilitation of any real or tangible property. Read that? Okay, you read that? With an estimated useful life of 15 years or longer, as described in this chapter. The facilities need not be physically located within the boundaries of the district. However, any facility financed outside a district shall have a tangible connection to the work of the district as detailed in the infrastructure financing plan adopted, which hasn't happened, in accordance with subdivision E. I'm not going to go there now for the purpose of this. In addition to any other project authorized by this chapter, a district form pursuant to this section may finance any of the following: highways, interchanges, ramps, bridges, arterial streets, parking facilities, and transit facilities, sewage treatment and water reclamation plants and interceptor pipes, facilities for the collection and treatment of water for urban uses, flood control levees and dams, retention bases and drainage channels, childcare facilities, libraries, parks and recreation facilities, and open space, facilities for the transfer and disposal of solid waste, including transfer stations and vehicles, brownfield restoration and other environmental mitigation, the development of projects on a former military base, and provided that the projects are consistent with the Military Base Reuse Authority plan. The repayment of transfer funds to a military base reuse authority. The acquisition, construction, rehabilitation of housing, whether publicly or privately owned, for very low-income households. Acquisition, construction, or repair of industrial structures for private use. Transit priority projects, defined in Section 21155 of the Public Resources Code, that are located within a transit priority project area for purposes of this paragraph, transit priority project area includes a military base reuse plan that meets the definition of a transit priority project area or a contaminated site within the project area. And it goes on. There's so much here that if you're discussing how Amtrak might be impacted, it's right in the middle of this area. And in discussing how it might be impacted, you could actually activate creatively some aspects of this law in existence for political leverage. That's all I was trying really to say. I was trying to get there. I was trying to say, hey, if you're talking about Amtrak, you're talking about impacts and everything, before you go there in terms of criticizing, you might take a look at the legislation and see how the legislation might guide you to think about the project in a different way. I didn't get a chance to do that because Ace Fan Radio was so into gaslighting me, shutting me down. You would say, why would a person do that? And in my experience, and this person's right, I do say, hey, look, if you treat me like that, you're being racist. Because in my experience, in my life experience, far more often than not, someone white has always tried to, shut me down, particularly in a social media aspect, with respect to issues regarding the business of sports or anything that's authoritative. And this really happened to me even before social media, okay? There are people who cannot handle a black person who speaks the way that I do. They think, oh, he's talking down to me or something like that, when I'm just simply saying, hey, look, here's an observation, all right? It is a race problem. It is the hallmark of the kind of racism that is described by some as a microaggression. They add up, and after a point in life, I got tired. You get tired, and you start saying, hey, you know what? I don't like that. Now, the person has an option. They can say, hey, that person could have said, hey, I'm sorry, but they didn't. As you saw, they just kept on going, which means they got a real problem, okay? A nice person, a good person, apologizes and says, hey, I didn't mean to do that. That shows respect for me. But he says, hey, we don't respect you. I know, because I'm a black guy who talks this way and you guys can't handle it. You just can't. And it's sad. And it's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. Hey, look, I don't criticize anybody else like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. All that. I don't get into that. That's immature. Everybody has a point of view. Learn that person's point of view, understand it, and move forward. And that way you get a better project and a better understanding of what's happening in general.